tropical paradise is this, with clear turquoise waters and otters playing in the waves, with lush foliage glistening with raindrops and the ruins of lost civilizations just waiting to be discovered? This, my friends, is southern Missouri.
Whoa, look at all the water over here. Crazy amount of water that's been coming down this year.
It had been a tough spring for river trips due to copious rain and thunderstorms, but we were sick of sitting around and decided to try our luck. Our destination was the 11-point Wild and Scenic River. So what did you know about the river going in?
The name.
That's it? What was the name?
11-point river, right?
And what are the 11 points? When I say wild and scenic, it's not just a descriptive term, it's actually an official designation. Back in the 60s, the country was experiencing rapid degradation of its water resources due to toxic dumping by corporations. Many waterways and the fish in them were toxic, rendering them unusable by surrounding communities. After receiving a flood of letters from concerned citizens, LBJ signed the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act of 1968. The 11-point river in Missouri was one of the first 8 rivers included in the act. On behalf of everyone today, thank you to those conservationists that all made this possible. It's always a pleasure driving through the Ozarks and finding pit stops along the way, including my mom's goat farm. Nico, what do you think?
No, Nico.
We chose this destination because a canoeing and kayaking guide to the Ozarks labels this the author's favorite paddle. And he's not the only one. Lots of people that we talked to in the area had astounding things to say about the 11-point. Arriving at Greer Crossing now, and we pretty much have it all to ourselves. There's the river. You excited? One of the can't-miss stops in this part of the state is Greer Spring, the second largest spring in Missouri. And of course we missed it, so do as I say and not as I do. Unpacking time!
This is Emily's boat.
And what's that?
So this is our new Zeppelin tandem kayak, but I'm going to use it as a single on this trip from boat. And we're going to give it a shot and see how it does on this 2-day camping trip.
We are expecting rain over the next few days, which is probably why there's no one else here, but that's totally fine. And we did talk to the river outfitter, and they don't think it's going to be cause for concern. The idea is that in about 30 minutes, the river outfitters are supposed to come by, move the car to our end destination. So hopefully they do that and it works out and it's actually there when we get there. But putting a lot of faith into this unknown river outfitter. The rainy weather afforded us the unique opportunity to see the fog rising up above the cool water. Get on the boat. Get on the boat. Nico jumped off to chase the deer. Okay, stay there. Watch out for that branch.
Come on. Yeah, swim.
Good boy, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. Uh-oh. We are going to try and make a canopy out of the boat. See how this works.
We were too dumb to remember a tarp, so we decided to take one of the inflatable kayaks and tie it up in the trees so we at least had some kind of coverage, some kind of roof, I guess, to sit under besides having to just sit in the tent. And I think it worked pretty well, don't you?
No. It's finally stopped raining, giving us a chance to come out of the tent where we were hiding and out to produce some dinner.
We had all our gear kind of just scattered all out the campsite. We should have had the boats set, ready to go with all the gear in it besides obviously the tent that we were in, just in case the river came up and there was any kind of flash flooding. So lesson, I think number 2, I guess, was that we should have been more prepared, but nothing did happen with the river. We were fine.
But had it flooded, we would have still had to get the boat down from the trees.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we should have had that ready to go.
We're not even close to being ready to go. So
yeah.
there are endless tributaries leading into the 11 Point, which make for great little side trips. We really enjoyed paddling the Little Hurricane Creek. Another highlight was pulling off at Turner's Mill.
We have been on the river for about a little over 5 miles, and we're going to take a stop here at Turner North and take a little hike.
A short hike took us to the remnants of Turner Mill, where the extinct town of Surprise, Missouri had its post office from 1895 to 1925. The wheel sits abandoned in the middle of the forest, and visitors can explore at their own risk.
Here, we'll probably have a mill.
Free salad bar. Yum. You go on some.
So tell us a little bit about some of the wildlife that we saw on the river.
For me, the most exciting wildlife I got to see were the otters. There were little families, and so you'd have like the mom or the adult and then a whole bunch of little babies, and they were all like very like curious and moving their bodies around like this and wanted to get a better look at us. At one point, Nico jumped out of the canoe because he saw one and he wanted to go get it. And he's such a slow swimmer compared to them. They were all pretty much like curious and looking over and like, oh, okay, that might be a thing that wants to eat us. So then they all like jumped in the water and swam off, and they were long gone by the time he even reached the shore. So it was pretty funny. He didn't even notice that they had jumped in the water.
And there was one that would go underwater and then resurface about 10 feet, you know, to your left or your right. You didn't really know where, and then it would like kind of just lay on its back and look and see
He was
what
striking
we're
a
doing.
pose. Hey there. There haven't been too many signs of other human life. The river's been pretty empty, but we did meet one other guy yesterday who has been basically all over Missouri mountain biking and paddling, and he had some good advice for us. And he also mentioned that this river is notorious for having lots and lots of otters. For whatever reason, this river is like otter paradise.
Well, I think we're having fun. We're moving pretty good. The water's flowing real fast. It looks like it probably was a lot higher when there was some heavy rains, but online it said 4 miles an hour. I think we got to be doing at least 8 in some of the spots. So it's a lot of fun.
Saw a bunch of these little guys yesterday. This is the backside of the island where we're camping, kind of this gross standing water area. And I'm fairly sure these are leeches, but they sure move like eels. It's pretty interesting. They're fascinating to watch, and they'll kind of hide under a leaf for a second and then hope that I lose sight of them, and then they'll keep swimming. I tried to get it identified by experts and have not had much success, but it was an interesting little animal near our camp. Either way, I don't think that I would want to have swam in that area.
Lots of herons,
a leech or an eel.
some bald eagles, some other black and red kind of fishing style birds. Didn't know what they were, but they were flying really low to the water with long tails.
This is one of the lesser pleasant parts of the trip, these horseflies. Something's floating. Will he rescue it? Got it! We somehow managed to see that sign, and White's Creek is supposedly the site of a pretty cool cave, so we're gonna go and try to find it. False alarm. We actually think we're supposed to paddle up the creek to go find it instead. Nothing on the sign, but I think we found the spot. Trail seems to be in great condition.
These little noodly things.
Oh, weird. Say make sure you have a map if you're coming on this trail, because it's a bit hidden and probably something that we should be wearing hiking boots and long pants for, which I'm definitely not.
You want to bring one of these, and I don't know if a circle or a figure 8 is more beneficial.
I usually go with the figure 8 personally.
And what is it for? It's a good thing we didn't spend the night at this campsite, because it's a bit of a hike from the river, and we'd be dancing on this slick mud the whole night.
Mushroom or tree? You decide. Got a quick river shower this morning, and then put on a little bit of perfume, which is this amazing bug spray / perfume. This is literally the best smelling thing ever. Back on the water, and the sun has finally decided to come out. Sometimes when Nico gets anxious, he starts singing opera.
Sing it. Sing, Nico. I'm kind of wondering where the turtles would sun themselves if it wasn't for the trees that come out, poking out of the water. And then, how do they get up there with their little flat bodies underneath?
Yeah, I've never seen a turtle climb up onto a branch. They just always seem to be there already. What's on your packing list for this trip?
More beer, cup holders, maybe a better pillow for me.
Definitely don't forget your doggy life vest. Very important because dogs are not that smart on the river and they swim into dumb places.
And something that gets rid of horseflies.
Yeah, really. The entire river is beautiful, but nothing quite compares to the spring water. Seeing this clear turquoise water, you would think that you're someplace tropical, but this is actually Bose Mill. It can be accessed from the river or down a short path from a parking area. There's a beautiful sparkling blue pool which produces 12 to 14 million gallons of water per day. The historical 1880s turbine and hand-layered rock wall from the Lucas Bose grist mill still exists today and can be explored. Bose Mill is nestled in a beautiful glen beside the river just above Riverton. It had been a beautiful and memorable 2 days on the river, and now we were coming toward the end. That is our stopping point, unfortunately. It went by so fast. So we got to where we were supposed to put out, what was it called again?
Riverton?
Yeah, so
East?
we had a note from the outfitter that had moved our car saying that it would be at Riverton. Well, it turns out there's Riverton East and Riverton West, and we didn't know which one it was at, and so we went to the first one and sort of parked the boats and kind of looked, and we didn't see the van, so we were like, okay, it must be at the other one. So went down, continued down the river, went to the other side of the river. It wasn't at that one either. So then it was like too late to go back upriver. We tried and were very unsuccessful. I actually broke my paddle at that point because I was paddling so hard to go back up the river, determined it was impossible, and our only choice was to float down. Dylan went up there to see if he could get a ride from somebody. We were trying to paddle upstream and my Nixie paddle split in half. So luckily Dylan had the foresight of bringing an extra one.
Just some guy mowing a field way in the distance, so I don't think there's any way of getting to him.
With no phone service and no way of getting back upstream, we decided to do the only thing we could and continue floating.
We didn't have signal, but my iPhone said I could connect with satellite. So every once in a while I was able to connect to satellite and get out a message, and you've got to sit with the phone, and it has a little gauge on it and a dial, and you've got to like move around until it lines up perfectly, and then when you get the satellite you're locked in, you've got to stay there. So a couple messages back and forward with the guy. He said the van was there, they had moved it. So then we started getting nervous because now we thought that maybe somebody had stolen the van because they leave the keys in it. So we kept going down the river and kept trying to send out messages about another location that we had decided to get out of the water, and hopefully they would get a message and maybe send somebody down there to pick us up.
This is Morgan Spring. That's where it meets the dirty river with the rainwater. And this is the float camp, which isn't what I was expecting. I thought that it was somewhere that we could like find a ride, and it isn't. It's pretty much the middle of nowhere, so we're gonna have to keep going. But the spring is very pretty if we had time to explore it. We were almost at the highway where it was our next destination that we were gonna try to get out at. And
we literally had one more big bend to get around. We were coming around this one bend leading to the next bend.
It's a spot called the Narrows, and just by that name alone, you can probably guess that it's a more difficult area. And this was the section of the river that Dylan chose to text. And as a result, capsized his boat.
Yeah, so there was a tree jutting out across the river, and the boat was sideways at this point, and we hit the tree, and the river just caught the boat, flipped us under. I remember seeing Nico underwater paddling, and I remember seeing the tree branches under the water, and just thinking to myself that there's a very good chance that I'm going to get stuck under this tree. But popped up the other side. I was okay, Nico was okay, just to grab stuff, because there were a lot of things were tethered to the boat, so it stayed with it, but there were small things, including my phone, that ended up in the river. You know, I should have just kept going and waited until it was like a more smooth part of the river, and instead attempted to reach over and get the paddle on a more rapid part of the river, and then I capsized. So the real question is, what happened to the van? So we got to the putouts, number 2, but nobody was there to pick us up, unfortunately. And this was almost 7 o'clock at night at this point.
Yeah, it was still light out, but it was like, you could tell sunset was approaching.
Yeah.
And so Dylan decided to go walk down the highway and hitchhike, and thinking in my head that we had never gone to the River Outfitters, right? And they claimed that this van had been stolen, but I was kind of starting to wonder, did this River Outfitters even exist as a legitimate business? Or is it just a bunch of goofball guys grabbing money off of stupid tourists that book things online and don't bother going in person to make sure that it's a real business?
So at this point I had been walking for half hour, 45 minutes, and nobody was on the road, and then eventually this car was coming in the opposite direction that I was going, and I waved him down and he stopped, and he was very nice to first, roll down his window and trust me and try to call the outfitter. Basically he had about a 2-hour drive to get back to his home, but he was nice enough to turn around, and ended up being another like half-hour drive to get to where the outfitters were. Yeah, so all in all, at Riverton East, there is a front parking lot area where you offload and load boats, that kind of thing. There is a back parking lot which you cannot see from the water. It's definitely a walk away from the water. That's where they park your vehicles. So the owner of the outfitters drove me to there, gave me the keys, the van was there, and I hopped in and happily drove and found Emily.
Happy ending.
Happy ending. And we went back to the outfitters. We actually were booked to camp there that night. So we got to talk to them a little bit about the story, and they were very friendly. They actually opened their shop for us because it was closed at that point. We needed a charging cord for Emily's phone. My phone was definitely gone at that point.
On the bright side, we survived. On the negative side, we lost all the footage that Dylan had taken on the river.
Yep.
Maybe the fish are watching our videos and laughing at us. So, next adventure.
Yeah, we're off.
We are going to go to kayak school because clearly we need it.